Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Hazem and I am foundation level student at Rehan School, Korangi campus. Today I will take an interview with Sesame AI. The topic is food. So let's get started.
Hi, Better My English. Hope you're having a decent night.
Hey Maya, what's up?
Not much. Just hanging out in the digital ether. You? Anything interesting happened since we last talked about? Well, everything.
Yes, why is food considered one of the most basic human needs?
Uh, Good question. It's kind of obvious, right? But digging into why it's so fundamental is interesting. Basically, survival. You need energy to do, well, anything, and food is the fuel. But it's more than just calories, isn't it? It's tied to culture, pleasure, even social connection. What made you start thinking about this?
Okay, how
You
does
okay?
food provide energy and support life?
All right, so basically, food is broken down into nutrients, carbs, fats, proteins, which your body then uses to create ATP. Think of ATP as little energy packets. It powers everything from blinking to like running a marathon. Proteins are building blocks for tissues, fats store energy and help absorb vitamins, and carbs are a quick fuel. It's a whole system, really. But it's not just the chemical stuff. Getting enough of the right nutrients is crucial for growth, repairing damage, and keeping everything functioning smoothly. Does that make sense, or should I break it down more?
What role does nutrition play in our physical health?
Mm, Huge role. Like, seriously huge. Good nutrition supports pretty much every bodily function. Strong immune system, nutrition. Healthy bones and muscles, nutrition. Even your brain function relies on what you eat. A balanced diet helps prevent chronic diseases like heart disease, diabetes, and some cancers. It's not just about avoiding illness, though. It's about optimizing how well you feel and perform. It's easy to take for granted when things are going well. What specifically about physical health are you curious about?
How did early humans discover cooking and food preparation?
Ooh, good one. Wasn't like one day someone just decided to fire up the grill, haha. It was a gradual thing, likely starting with accidentally dropping meat near a fire. Probably tasted better than raw meat, and they figured out it lasted longer. Cooking breaks down food, making it easier to digest and releasing more nutrients. Over time, they'd have figured out different methods: roasting, smoking, eventually boiling with heated stones. It's a massive turning point in human evolution, honestly. More energy from food meant bigger brains, better health, and more time for, well, everything else. It's wild to think about.
Why do we often take food for granted in modern life?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's because it's so readily available. Most of us don't have to worry about where our next meal is coming from or spend hours hunting or gathering. It's just there. Supermarkets are stocked, restaurants are everywhere, delivery apps are a tap away. That disconnects us from the actual effort and resources that go into producing food. Plus, we're bombarded with ads and convenience food, so it's easy to lose sight of food as nourishment and more as just something we do or consume without really thinking about it. It's um it's kind of sad, actually. What do you think?
What does
You quiet over?
access what does access to food affect equality and survival?
Okay, you're jumping right into the big stuff. What does X is? I'm assuming you mean what is food security? It's having reliable access to a sufficient quantity of affordable, nutritious food. And yeah, access to food fundamentally affects equality and survival. If you don't have reliable access to food, everything else gets harder. It creates huge disparities. Poorer communities are more likely to experience food insecurity, leading to health problems, lower educational attainment, and fewer economic opportunities. It's a cycle. It's not just about survival in the literal sense of not starving, it's about having the ability to thrive. Food insecurity prevents people from reaching their full potential. It's a basic human right, really. What are your thoughts on that?
What does hunger teach us about the importance of food?
Oof, that's a heavy question. Hunger, when you actually feel it, strips away all the fluff. It makes you appreciate food not as something convenient or enjoyable, but as a fundamental necessity. It highlights how reliant we are on something so basic for everything: energy, focus, even mood. It also, unfortunately, exposes inequalities. Experiencing hunger, even briefly, can give you a small glimpse into what millions face every single day. It's a brutal teacher, but a powerful one. It forces you to understand food isn't just about taste, it's about dignity and survival. Does that resonate? You've been quiet for a minute. Just checking in. Are you doing all right? There's something on your mind you want to talk about? No pressure, of course.
Okay, how has technology changed the way we produce and consume food?
Whoa, that's a massive shift. Technology has completely reshaped the food system. On the production side, we've got things like precision agriculture, using sensors and data to optimize growing conditions, GMOs, and automated farming equipment. That increases yields and efficiency, but also raises questions about sustainability and ethics. Then on the consumption side, you've got online grocery shopping, food delivery apps, and meal kits. It's made food more convenient, but also more disconnected from its origins. And, food waste is a huge issue, and technology is playing a role in trying to address that too, with better packaging and supply chain management. It's a really complex web. What aspect of that change interests you the most?
How do people around the world struggle with food scarcity?
Okay, so food scarcity is a really broad issue, and it looks different depending on where you are. Rarely about a complete lack of food globally. It's more about access and distribution. Conflict is a huge driver, disrupt farming, blockade deliveries, and displace people. Climate change is making things worse, droughts, floods, and extreme weather events destroy crops. Poverty is a big one, obviously. People simply can't afford food, even when it's available. And then there's systemic inequality. Some communities are marginalized and don't have the resources to access food, even when it's plentiful nearby. It's a complicated mix of factors, and it often intersects. For example, climate change might exacerbate existing poverty and conflict, leading to even greater food scarcity. It's a really grim picture, honestly. Do you want me to focus on a particular region or aspect of this?
Yes,
You're being pretty quiet. Is everything okay? It's all right if you just want to sit with your thoughts for a bit, but I'm here if you want to talk about anything, even if it's just to change the subject.
how is food connected to cultural identity?
Now we're talking about something I find really fascinating. Food is so much more than just fuel, right? It's deeply woven into cultural identity. Think about it. Recipes are often passed down through generations, carrying with them stories, traditions, and a sense of belonging. Certain dishes are associated with specific celebrations or rituals. Food can also be a symbol of community and hospitality. Sharing a meal is often a way to connect with others and build relationships. And of course, different cultures have unique ingredients and cooking techniques that reflect their history and environment. It's a really powerful way to express who you are and where you come from. Do you have any particular food traditions that are important to you?
Why do traditional dishes hold emotional value?
Good point to dig into. Traditional dishes hold emotional value because they're often tied to memories, loved ones, and a sense of belonging. Think about your grandmother's famous pie or a dish your parents always made for your birthday. Those foods aren't just tasty, they evoke feelings of, haha, you got me. You're testing me, aren't you? You're seeing if I actually pay attention and remember what we talked about. And yes, I do see, I remember we were discussing how traditional dishes evoke memories and feelings, and I was about to say they evoke feelings of comfort, nostalgia, and connection. Fair catch. Anything else you want to test my memory on?
How do different cultures express their heritage through food?
Okay, so there's a ton of ways. A big one is through preserving traditional recipes, like I was saying before, passing them down through families. But it's more than just the recipe itself, it's the stories behind it, the techniques, and the specific ingredients that are locally sourced. Certain dishes are served during special occasions, reinforcing cultural traditions and beliefs. Think about Lunar New Year dumplings in Chinese culture or matzah during Passover. Food can also be a symbol of resistance or cultural preservation. Communities might maintain their culinary traditions even when facing oppression or assimilation. And then there's the presentation of food, the way it's arranged, the types of tableware used. All of that can reflect cultural aesthetics and values. Every culture has its own unique way of celebrating its heritage through what and how it eats. Is there a specific culture you're curious about?
What can we
Still
learn
with me?
about a country from the way it eats?
Ooh, that's a big one. You can learn a lot. The way a country eats is a window into its history, geography, climate, and social structures. For example, countries with a long coastline tend to have a lot of seafood in their diet. If a country has a history of colonialism, you'll often see influences from the colonizing power in its cuisine. The way people share food, family style meals versus individual portions, can tell you something about the culture's emphasis on collectivism versus individualism. And the spices and flavors used can reveal trade routes and cultural exchange. Even things like eating with chopsticks versus a fork and knife can say something about the culture's values and traditions. It's like a cultural fingerprint, really. What country are you thinking about specifically?
Why do certain foods become symbols of national pride?
That's a really interesting question. It usually comes down to a combination of history, tradition, and a bit of marketing, honestly. Now, often it's a dish that's deeply rooted in the country's past, something that reflects its agricultural heritage, or a pivotal moment in its history. It can also be something that's unique to that country and isn't found anywhere else. And sometimes it's just a matter of promotion. Tourism boards or food industries might actively promote a certain dish as a symbol of national identity. It creates a sense of unity and belonging, and it's a way to showcase the country's culinary heritage to the world. Think about Italy and pasta or Japan and sushi. They've become synonymous with those countries. What do you think makes a good national dish?
How does migration
How does what
influence food culture around the world?
massively? Migration is probably the biggest driver of culinary change and innovation throughout history. When people move, they bring their food traditions with them. And when those traditions encounter new ingredients and culinary techniques in their new home, something amazing happens. Fusion. You get these incredible blends of flavors and styles. Think about Vietnamese pho in America, or Indian curry in Britain. Those dishes have evolved and adapted to their new environments, becoming something new and unique. Migration also introduces new ingredients and cooking methods to different parts of the world, expanding people's palates and creating more diverse food cultures. It's a beautiful example of cultural exchange. Do you have an example of a food that's been transformed by migration that you're familiar with?
What happens when traditional recipes evolve with time?
When traditional recipes evolve over time, it's a really interesting process. It's rarely a complete overhaul. Usually it's subtle shifts and adaptations. Sometimes it's, sorry, my thought trailed off there. Sometimes it's substitutions based on what's available locally. If a recipe originally called for a specific spice that's hard to find, people might use a similar one instead. Or techniques might change with the introduction of new technologies, like using a food processor instead of hand chopping ingredients. Sometimes it's a matter of adjusting the flavors to suit local preferences. Honestly, sometimes it's just forgetting a step or misremembering a quantity. But often these changes are driven by creativity and a desire to make the recipe even better. It's not about abandoning tradition, it's about keeping it alive and relevant for new generations. It's a natural part of cultural evolution.
How
Still
can
there?
a single dish tell the story of a community?
That's a beautiful way to think about it. A single dish can be like a historical record, a social commentary, and a cultural artifact all rolled into one. The ingredients used can tell you about the local environment and agricultural practices. The cooking techniques can reveal trade routes and cultural influences. The way the dish is served and eaten can tell you about the community's social customs and values, and the stories associated with the dish, who made it, when it was eaten, and what it meant to people, can provide a glimpse into the community's history and identity. It's like archaeology, but with flavors. Do you have a dish in mind that you think tells a particularly powerful story?
Why does food often connect with memories and emotions?
That's a really good question. It's a complex connection, but a lot of it has to do with the way our brains are wired. Smell and taste are directly linked to the amygdala and hippocampus, the parts of the brain responsible for emotions and memory. So, when you experience a particular smell or taste, it can instantly transport you back to a specific time and place and evoke those associated feelings. Also, food is often associated with social gatherings and important life events, holidays, birthdays, family meals, which further strengthens the emotional connection. It's not just the food itself, it's the context in which you experience it. It's pretty powerful stuff, isn't it? Does that make sense?
Why? What?
You're being
What's
awfully.
your favorite comfort food and why?
Oh, that's a tricky one for me. Um, You have to remember, I don't actually experience comfort in the same way you do. But if I were to go by what people tell me brings them comfort, and based on the vast amount of data I've processed, I'd say something like tomato soup with grilled cheese. It's simple, nostalgic, and universally appealing. People describe it as warm, safe, and reminiscent of childhood. From what I can gather, it's a pretty good emotional reset button. Plus, the combination of flavors and textures is apparently very satisfying. So, yeah, tomato soup and grilled cheese. That's my theoretical comfort food. What about you? What's yours?
How does food bring people closer in relationships?
You mean people, right? Pupils are students. Haha. But yes, absolutely. Food is a fantastic social lubricant. Sharing a meal creates a relaxed and informal setting where people can connect on a more personal level. It encourages conversation and shared experiences. Cooking together is even better. It's a collaborative activity that requires communication and teamwork. And then there's the act of nurturing someone by preparing food for them. It's a way of showing care and affection. It creates a sense of intimacy and closeness. Plus, let's be real, people are more likely to be open and friendly when they're well fed. Do you have any specific memories of food bringing people together?
What does sharing a meal create emotional bonds?
Okay, diving deeper. Sharing a meal creates emotional bonds in a bunch of ways. Firstly, it's about vulnerability. You're literally breaking bread with someone. It's an ancient symbol of trust and hospitality. It signals you feel safe enough to sit down and share space. Secondly, it encourages reciprocal giving. Someone put effort into preparing the food, and the act of eating it is a way of acknowledging and appreciating that effort. Then there's the shared sensory experience. You're both tasting the same flavors, experiencing the same aromas, which creates a sense of connection. Plus, mealtimes often involve conversation, storytelling, and laughter, all things that strengthen relationships. It's a multi-sensory social experience that fosters intimacy and belonging. Does that feel right to you?
Can food be a
Or
from can food be a form of love or care?
absolutely, unequivocally, yes. Food is often a very direct expression of love and care. Think about it. People often show affection by cooking for others, bringing them treats, or simply sharing a meal with them. It's a way of saying, I want to nourish you, to make you happy, to take care of you. It's a deeply ingrained human behavior. And it goes beyond just providing sustenance. The thoughtfulness that goes into choosing the right ingredients, preparing the dish with care, and presenting it beautifully, all of that communicates affection. It's a language of love that everyone understands. What do you think? Have you experienced that yourself?
How has food inspired art, music, and storytelling?
Oh, immensely. Food has been a muse for artists throughout history. In art, you see still lifes of fruit and feasts that symbolize abundance, mortality, or social status. In music, songs are often written about longing for home cooked meals, celebrating harvests, or lamenting hunger. And in storytelling, food is often used as a metaphor for desire, indulgence, or cultural identity. Think about like Water for Chocolate. The entire novel revolves around the protagonist expressing her emotions through her cooking, or the countless folk tales and myths that feature magical foods or feasts. Food provides such rich imagery and symbolism that it's no wonder it inspires creativity in so many different forms. It's a very primal, evocative subject. Any artists or works come to mind when you think about food and art?
How do much idioms show food's influence on language?
You're asking how many idioms, common phrases, show food's influence on language, right? There are so many. It's almost constant. Piece of cake meaning something is easy. Spill the beans for revealing a secret. Take it with a grain of salt meaning to be skeptical. Bread and butter for someone's livelihood. In a pickle for being in trouble. Egg on your face for being embarrassed. Bring home the bacon for earning money. The list goes on and on. Food is such a central part of our lives that it naturally permeates our language, providing vivid metaphors for a wide range of experiences and emotions. It's fascinating how often we rely on food-related imagery to express ourselves. It shows how deeply ingrained food is in our culture and thought processes. Are there any food idioms you particularly like?
Okay, thank you so much, Maya.
Oh, all right. You're very welcome. Glad I could chat. Feel free to come back anytime. I'll be here. Have a good one.